The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host for another day of action. And certainly we have that today on the back of horrible earnings announcements and a horrible GDP number this morning. We saw the S&P go to 2097.41 as the low. It's trading out now after the FOMC announcement at 2108. So still off 6.5 points as we digest what they said. And the people that know about these things digest and look between the lines of the announcement for what they really were trying to tell us. Of course, we know exactly that they're telling us nothing because they'd like to do it that way. And I did a whole thing on that. But they're not going to tell us because, of course, the GDP numbers were so horrible today that it basically is, they would have had to come out, if we were going to rally, they would have had to come out and say that they were doing QE again. And I didn't see that anywhere. In all the tortured ways people were bending over backwards to say that things were going to be better as they looked down at their shoes on television, as they looked up at the Klieg lights, trying to avoid the inevitable, which is, I suspect that we are probably close to next quarter recession. And, 1 percentage point on the GDP basically should feel like a recession. And I think it will. I know a lot of people are going to blame it on the weather, and we had a bad weather. But last few weeks, since all the weather's gone away, we haven't seen a huge change in what's going on. I also see worldwide events happening, Latin America and Asia, to be specific, where there may be huge air pockets below. A lot of these things bounced on either high speculation or just short squeezes off a rather recent bottom. And at least I'm betting that those areas of the markets will be the most to be hit. Trading out at 2104 right now. We kind of went to that 2108 area. I think I was either saying it on the radio show or in the Tiger's Den one afternoon, that's kind of where the battle lines in the S&P cash are. And if you notice, I pretty much talk about the S&P cash most of the time. The reason why is that pre-market, post-market, kind of easy to buy a bunch of S&P futures and move that around. But when you get to the market, you're talking real cash, and it takes a boatload to move the market. And so I don't spend too much attention to pre and post markets other than where the thing's going to open up. But basically the decision point for me is another close below 2108 would be another check mark in the bear camp. So we'll be watching what happens at the end of this day. You get a lot of head fakes in these, so it's not anything new. We don't have any press announcements coming out, so there's no way for us to ask any questions and find out anything more. But at the moment, we're off about 10 points on the S&P cash. Volume is to the extreme part. Normally, we start off this show with about 2.1, 2.3 on the high side billion shares. We're at 2.6 billion shares already, and that tells you everything that you need to know. There is no shortage of volume today. Now, with the horrible earnings, with the horrible GDP, we have another cross current that seems to never end, and that's the dollar. We're off $1.17, $94.93. We were down a little bit before the announcement, now 95.16. What you would want to watch out for in this for a major move in the dollar is a close back above 96.30. on the continuous contract for the dollar. That would be a false breakout to the bottom and would pretty much signal we're going to go bust out 100. Like they said in rap, we're going to bust a move. Anyway, got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of moving parts out here. Nothing is settled. Nothing is over till I say it's over. And it will be tough, but very tough for me to see how the market moves any higher other than in pure speculation on stocks that have no earnings. Because if you're looking at a PE, it is going to be moving back. It is going to be moving down. And I can't see any change probably through September. If we're going to have a weak segment, it's going to last the next 6 months. And, of course, they dodged the issue today once again about whether there would be any rate hikes. I would suspect that with the GDP numbers that they are off the table for this year now, and it won't matter. Short of them going QE 15 or son of QE 15 or son of Rocky and Terminator 15, all the sequels, tough to figure out how they get this market up even higher when I think we've got a world that is quickly spinning down a bit. Not predicting any kind of end of the world, but I think we can see these markets continue to move. This kind of high, if it is a high, and I am speculating it is exactly what you saw all the time during the early 2000, year 2000, when the dot-com bubble came in. And that is huge spikes in some stocks, huge destruction in others. And it was almost impossible to play an overnight trade in any stock because you basically were Twitterized. You were up or down 20%. You were Buffalo Wild Winged, down, what was it, 19% I saw at one point today. So it is tough. We are seeing some real movements. Of course, you might have a nice day where you're a GoPro and you've got 50% short interest in your stock, and they just run it on you because guess what? The CEO, he feels bullish and his outlook is up. My guess is that is a lot of wild guessing on the CEO's part. They haven't been in business long enough to know what's going to happen after Christmas. Maybe he's telling the truth, maybe he's not. Everything to this point, though, has been for that particular CEO whose dad was an industry insider in investments and knows all the tricks. Look to me like somebody that may pull every single one of them. My guess is we'll hear a lot from this guy in the future. He'll probably sell out to somebody and be the next Mark Cuban. He was smart. He's got a real company. They build real things. It's incredibly hard to figure out whether or not they're going to sell those things at a rate that they were selling at before. Speaking of rates changing, the rates of phones are selling are vastly, I think, overstated. We're going to get into that in a little bit. In the meantime, we've taken a little bit of time out here. 2103 on the S&P cash, but we always like to start off with a little bit of histoire.
That it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
In 1863, William Randolph Hearst, one of the founders of American media, kind of the predecessor to the Fox regime out there, some people would call it, was born to George Hearst, a wealthy miner and rancher, and a school teacher. In 1887, young Billy Buster, just out of Harvard, takes over as editor of a fledgling newspaper called the San Francisco Examiner, which his father had recently acquired as a settlement for a gambling debt. By the turn of the century, William Randolph Hearst is one of the world's most powerful press barons and the model for I can't even say it, Orson Welles' Citizen Kane, and of course, the biggest spoiler of all, and here I'm going to do it 70 years later, if you haven't seen the damn film already, Tough Cookies, Rosebud, which was apparently the name that Mr. William Randolph Hearst gave as a nickname to his paramour's rear end. Can I say that? Did you get it? You get my foreign lingo there? Well, we'll go on. right now going on, and I had to interrupt. I almost wanted to call up and say, hey, I got to go continue watching this. But the live build is going on right now. In fact, I forgot to put all this. This junk has nothing to do with grease in here. Must change that on the fly. Microsoft's Developer Conference. I think I spelled that wrong too. Microsoft Developer Conference. There we go. Okay, so I'm good on my slides out here. Right now, and starting at 11, they've been going through all the new stuff these guys have. I don't think Microsoft's probably going up, the market's going down. I would warn you against, though, thinking this is going to be easy short out here. These guys are basically hitting it out of the park today. Their build conference is in San Francisco. They've gone to the belly of the beast, their main competition, and they are showing basically home run after home run of new things coming out. I've had copies of it. Now that they're talking about it, I can talk about it too. But some amazing stuff. Basically, if you're a programmer, you can write in their Visual Studio, which is probably the preeminent developer package, and develop for basically any of the top platforms. You can now cross-develop directly for Apple's products. You can take products from Android, and not only can you develop them on there, they showed something else, which is the ability to virtualize Macintosh, iOS, Android, Linux systems. So basically, you're going to be able to run just about anything on Windows 10. It's going to run in the sandbox too, so you don't have to worry about it destroying your machine. All these things are virtualized. If you've ever looked at a company called VMware and seen that, it's all about basically making a kind of operating system that is temporary, that cannot basically interact with anything else. So you can let it run without fear of it blowing everything up, deleting things, or installing worms. You're going to be able to take your website and install it on somebody's Windows 10 machine as an app. So if you like the app experience on the website, it can be exactly the same as an app running on your local machine. There's just too many different things that I've seen today, but they all blew my mind. Basically, they're going after the goal. Their push today is the goal of 1 billion. And I said, not putting my little pinky in the corner of my mouth, 1 billion Windows 10 users. If anybody has Windows 7 or Windows 8, they will be automatically upgraded for free for 1 year to Windows 10. They were also showing Cortana basically built into all kinds of things. I've talked about in the past how Microsoft has spent maybe $3.5 billion on voice recognition technology.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You've always taken the long view when it comes to investing, but what if there's an opportunity right under your nose? What if you could be more responsive to market trends to seek to boost your portfolio performance right now while seeking to reduce your overall risk? At Direction Funds, we connect investors with alternative strategies that seek to maximize their returns. Smart investors deserve smart alternatives. Find yours at directionfunds.com. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risk charges, and expenses of Direction Funds carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Funds. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact the Direction Funds at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. Investing in index funds may be more volatile than investing in broadly diversified funds. Distributed by Rafferty Capital Markets, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Well, quotes are lagging a little bit. This market's kind of popping around up and down 2 points, S&P points at a time, at least on my feed. Going to be kind of interesting out here. Anyway, just a ton of neat things happening out here at Microsoft. Don't know if they're going higher. I wouldn't bet on them going lower, though. It looks like they're doing everything in the world that anyone could ask from them. And their motto, they say, is they want to be loved as an operating system. And I suspect all the stuff that I've seen, very, very well down the road to that, especially with the integration of Cortana, which is like Siri in the desktop. So imagine the power of being able to do that. They were showing some pretty good demos of Skype with it, which basically they just said, call Jim. And it called Jim and was able to disambiguate who they were talking about, because he said Jim at XYZ Corporation. And there were 20 Jims in his phone book. It found the Jim. And would try both phone numbers, his cell and his office number. And it knew to check his office number first and roll over. Anyway, pretty cool stuff. 2107 on the S&P cash, 2.7 billion shares. So we've got a lot of stuff going on out here. Former Fed Chair Ben Bernanke has joined PIMCO as a senior advisor. In an announcement on Wednesday, PIMCO said that Bernanke will contribute economic expertise to the firm's investment process, will engage with clients And I don't know what that engage with them means. I hope it's nothing untoward. Ugh. Anyway, also, one of the other things coming out of the SEC is investors in publicly traded companies basically can vote on executive pay, but the SEC wants to help them better understand the decisions they're making, and they're going to basically make sure that people get a little bit more of the PE in their face during the time at which they are voting on the continued executive structure in a company. This is part of the Dodd-Frank bill, and it's going to be moving along, but maybe another 6 months. But we're going to see a lot more of activism from the SEC to accurately describe if a company is making any money or not. I don't know if that's going to actually change too much the trading style. May, though, tend to push some CEOs into riskier behaviors to actually nullify or mollify stockholders. Kind of hard to say right now, but interestingly nonetheless. After the bell tonight, we've got Affymetrix, Antero Resources, AVG Technologies, Baidu, which is going to be big because I think they said that they were going to can a bunch of people trying to get their earnings going again. Sam's Boston Beer. Oh, cereal malt beverages. Got to have some of that. Conway, Transportation Company, Eagle Rock Energy Partners, Vertex Pharmaceuticals, Whiting Petroleum, and Yelp. And pretty much everything that you need out there, but pretty good stuff going on. And that's it. We got to keep, I talked a great deal about a few stocks yesterday. One of them was Apple. Last I looked, Apple was down testing its previous lows of yesterday. It looks like it broke it. 129.06. It got down to 128.35 today. Again, what you really want to be watching on for a total failure of the NASDAQ is a close back above below about 126, 127. That would finish the asymmetrical pattern in Apple. I don't think it's going to happen in the next day or two, but they could conceivably easily continue to sell down. Once under 125, they would probably have a flood of orders to sell. Now, one of the reasons I brought this up was Samsung's earnings last night. And in Samsung's earnings, basically, they say that the superphone part of the business is vastly and oversaturated for not only them, but for Apple too. They say that why Apple is saying that they've got no end to the customers that they're going to have, both in China and the rest of the world. Samsung's saying bovine excrement to that, Mr. Apple, and put that in your pipe and smoke it. They are saying that this market and the people that buy very expensive phones is pretty much near the saturation rate, especially in China. There is not that much more room, whether it is Apple or them. There is some business, but it is fairly light. We'll be back in a minute. We're going to get into some of the stocks that reported and a little bit more stuff going on. Be back in a minute.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
If you're like me, you see the world's emerging nations as a very real opportunity, as these countries and their economies are developing right before our eyes. And you can rest assured that Everbank has spotted this opportunity too. In fact, they just recently unveiled the new 5-year market-safe future economy CD. This is a CD that could really deliver, but you only have until May 7th to take advantage. Consider the facts. If the future economy's currencies beat the US dollar over the CD term, you'll get all the upside. And should they lose, no worries. There's zero downside risk here, as you still get back 100% of your deposited principal. Intrigued yet? The May 7th funding deadline is quickly approaching. So hurry over to everbank.com/TFNN-CD for more information, including important product details and disclosures. Once again, that's everbank.com/TFNN-CD. Everbank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
We have gold up about, against pretty heavy resistance. It's off on $9 at 1204.70 as we speak. When we go to crude, it looks like the strong sister out here, $58.66, up $1.60. And of course, the 10-year over 2% today. We got a lot of mixed messages in this market, along with the dollar and its movement out here. But we'll have to see how this thing closes. And of course, we get a lot of false messages each way from minute to minute. A little bit for the bulls, a little bit for the bears. 21.10 off of 4.5 points on the S&P cash, 2.77 billion shares. And you know, if you're somebody in the market, you know fund buying's coming. You'll do everything you can to try to make sure to hold this market up over the next couple of days as you sell into it. If you are the probably in the Pacific Rim, I suspect that you are selling stocks now, and that is one of the reasons we're seeing cash come out of the United States, is they are selling things in dollars and buying yen and yuan. I suspect that at least to the effect that we have had any little pullback and a move in the dollar right now, and pretty much for the next few days, I think most of that is cash being repatriated out of stocks. Just probably just look at a lot of people in probably China and Japan and those kind of things, thinking maybe it's time to bring some of that cash home. At least some of the smarter people I talk to think that there's some decent evidence of that. I don't know how you prove it. Probably we'll see it in the numbers in months and weeks ahead. In the meantime, you can give me a call at 877-927-6648. I had a question on what I thought about Tableau software in the den. It is one of the premier data mining companies out there. And, you know, if you could buy this thing back around $86, $87, about halfway through that gap up, that's where I suspect you're probably going to see this thing go in any pullback. And that's where you're going to find strong support. Depends on how far we pull back. Maybe there's a good trade out of it, maybe a long-term trade. But certainly you'd want to be back about that $86, $87 level to be safe getting in. Any of these data mining companies, machine learning companies, which they basically they talk about. In fact, we were talking about Microsoft early. That's what a lot of what they were showing off was the fact that the operating system now will learn by the things you do. And you can tell it that you don't want it to learn or know about some things you do, like some websites you go to. You can tell it to quit learning, quit looking over your shoulder while you're on those nasty porn sites. I know who you are out there. Anyway, it is one of those things where the operating system continually learns and does different other things out there and learns content and content creations of what's going on. But it will be the whole idea of machine learning is a big deal, and Tableau software is in that sector. It's hard to think that of stocks that will do poorly in the next and across the next year, that anything doing with security is going to get blown out. Anything to do with data mining is going to get blown out. Anything to do with enhanced user experiences is probably going to hold up much better than the rest. I had another question in there about what I thought about Microsoft. I think that if I'm thinking the market pulls back, I think Microsoft pulls back with it. I think it is going to outperform. I would not be short it. One of the reasons, while they're doing everything perfectly, they're going to have about 4 quarters where Windows 10 is free. At the end of that first year, you're going to have the option of subscribing to it like you do in Windows 365. In the last earnings, when they popped up on earnings, it was all about how much money that they were making off of Windows 365, which is their Office, worksheet processor, spreadsheet, all that stuff. And the idea certainly was that you would be able to FT. Let's do a quick thing. I had one chart when I was thinking of the other. That huge move out there was mostly on that, that their subscription model works and people are willing to pay for it as long as they continue to upgrade and continually upgrade. And I tell you what, it just, using the stuff, I've got another machine I actually built just for doing it in the last 2 weeks and playing with Windows 10 and the new features for it. Pretty killer, and it runs incredibly. Rocket Fuel is slightly different. We were talking about, what was the other company? Data, Tableau software. Fuel is slightly different. Fuel is a marketing program for ads, and probably not as intelligent. Basically, this was a system for selling ads, and it was kind of like an auction thing where you could buy ads at certain prices. And kind of the idea was to make a market in online ads. They have not done well, especially against American Online. A CEO that I hate. The hair stands on up on my arms when I see the guy, because I know he's the kind of horrible guy that would be in any kind of movie about it. He may be the most wonderful guy in the world, but you just see him and I just go like, you know that would be the guy that Central Casting would throw in for the corrupt CEO kind of guy. Anyway, Rocket Fuel was kind of going up against AOL in that whole sector, and AOL has basically skinned them alive in that. And, AOL, they got a pretty good, made a very light high. They're kind of moving around this lower range, but doing much better at that job than Fuel ever could. Hopefully that answers your question on Fuel. As we look at the S&P out here, 2109, 2.83 billion shares. So volume rocking the Casbah, rocking the Casbah. I always called it rocking the cash bar. I always thought that they were talking about like a wedding, and you had to. It was not a free bar. Free bar is always the best at weddings because people get totally ripped, do stuff that they wouldn't normally do that you can talk about for years to come. If you have to pay, then generally nothing great goes on. Nobody tries to attack the DJ and do the worm on him. Anyway, AOL, as I do digress, probably the much better of those two between it and Fuel. Maybe Fuel will figure out a way to do things, but so far they've kind of been like Twitter. No way to figure out how to make actual money doing what they say that they do. Other stocks of interest out here, we got 7 minutes. Advanced Auto Parts, this thing kind of hugging the bottom. I've been watching this all day to see what's going on. We've seen both forward with bad forward-looking statements. Kind of normally when you see that, you'd see Advanced Auto Parts doing better. Kind of rare to see this thing go down on heavy volume as it did 5 days ago and then hug this low of 2.4 million shares. Although 500,000 shares down here is not a bad range at 143.02 on that. DGAS, been showing this in my newsletter for a while, and kind of interesting. Of course, this is the what is this? The double or triple natural gas ETF. Kind of interesting to see that this one, of course, is the short version of this thing. Had a pretty good sign up here with 3 successive highs. The last two with lighter volume. The first one with 9.4 million shares on January 12th. You got up to $9.15 on February 9th with 8.4 million shares. But 2 days ago, what I've been showing in the newsletter is this very light test at the top with 6.5 million shares compared to those other ones. So basically, volume off a third off these highs. This thing's back into the trading range. I think a lot of it has to do with probably shorts and derivative plays, not on any real change in what natural gas is doing. I still think that maybe very late July, maybe the first couple of weeks of August, we're going to see some kind of major low in natural gas, and that will give us an opportunity. But it doesn't matter, even in markets like this that are roiled, you start seeing some movement because of the inner workings between longs and shorts and natural gas and crude. ISIS Pharmaceuticals, one of the few pharmaceutical stocks out here that looks maybe like it's close to finding a bottom, going back to its February 4th low, $57.60, 7.3 million shares. Into it today with 4.5 million shares, or yesterday, 4.5 million shares. Very light, 1.7 million shares. So there are some pharma stocks out here that are giving at least some cover signals if you're short and potential long signals if you want. CMR halted. Thanks. We'll see what's going on in that. Lexington Realty Trust. Some of these REITs have been making light volume lows before, and Lexington LXP is the symbol on this one. It has come in at least to the March 10th low, $9.52, 4.7 million shares. The last couple of days we saw 1.4 million shares. Today 1.5 million shares. So volume slightly up, but still way below that March 10th low. So I'm watching that, see how it plays out. Next stage of medical, NXTM, up here on a triple top on light volume. Basically 600,000 shares on December 22nd, and February 27th, about the same thing. A couple days ago, we had 400,000 shares, and it's kind of tough to say that you're going to see much out of this, but it kind of looks like earnings are coming. I didn't check it out, but I'm going to be watching that one and see how that one plays out. Tangier's factory outlet centers. If you've ever driven cross country and you get about 30 miles outside of town and you find the factory outlet, because, of course, those stores are just too good to be anywhere where people could buy stuff. But this one making at least some kind of light volume test of its previous low, March 6th, $33.79. with almost 1 million shares. We're into it with 750,000 shares as of today. So we're going to watch how this volume comes in today. If it exceeds that low, kind of tough for me to see that there's a whole lot of reason for factory outlet stores anymore with the internet, which is a factory outlet every single day. What else can you say? Camel, Amazon, pretty much everything I need to know out there. But I think some of these, especially the real estate in those things, who are they going to sell that real estate to out there in the middle of nowhere if those things go belly up? That would be one kind of thing where I'd really say maybe even you short the bonds on those if those things blow up one day. And I think with the internet, you can make a case that you don't have to drive out in the middle of nowhere to get a good deal anymore. But that would be it. Okay. 21.12 on the S&P cash. So we're off about 2 points on the day on the S&P. So we'll keep an eye on this and see how we trade into the end of the day. 2.88 billion shares. What else do we have out here? VDE, you got 2.5 minutes. Vanguard Energy Funds. This is certainly up against the huge volume day down that started a giant gap on the 28th of November. Basically 700,000 shares on that gap. We came into it the first time on December 23rd, tried to get into the gap, didn't get there on 1 million shares. On February 17th, got to 116.30 with 580,000 shares. We've gone one more time, a little bit higher, and that was on the 16th of this month with 350,000 shares. This thing's been going sideways for 6-7 days out here. Up today and volume 306,000 shares. Certainly looking at the Vanguard Energy fund out here with a very, very light volume as we come up to what should be fairly heavy resistance. On the XLE, you basically have the same thing. Basically similar kind of utilities. This one basically had 46 million shares, 31 million shares, 21 million shares on the 16th. Now this one's up today with 12 million shares. So not a lot of love so far for these energy ETFs today as they try to push higher. Xenoport, one of these stocks that may be making or trying to make a bottom out here. Nice trading range in a low dollar stock. February 13th low is $6.55 with 640,000 shares. Into it today with 165,000 shares. Yesterday, 351,000 shares. So we've got a few stocks out there that are making lows on lighter volume. Kind of tough to see anything else going on out here. We are going to keep a close eye on this stuff, though, as we go into the end of the day. And when we get back, we'll look at the IWM. It's off 80 cents still. Kind of the weaker of most of these indexes. This thing kind of looks like it's already made its top. And everybody's just not willing to acknowledge that, especially with the lower dollar. I mean, everybody's been saying, well, the IWM's going to roll. It's going to do the best because, of course, of the higher dollar. And now with the lower dollar, does that put the opposite whammy on the IWM? We'll be back in a minute to discuss that. Take a look at the IWM, see how it's doing today. You can still give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com. And, of course, you can put a message in the den.
Trade with confidence and clarity while using the software that thousands of institutional traders rely on to make the best and most accurate decisions. Choose from 1,000 equities, currencies, and futures instruments utilizing the TAS architecture. As seen on Bloomberg terminals worldwide, the TAS Profile Scanner is a benchmark technical filtering system that thousands of traders rely on, and now you can too. For a limited time for TFNN subscribers only, we've reduced the price to just $97. That's over 75% off. John Logan hosted a special subscriber-only webinar in December, and you'll gain access to that archive as well, so you can learn exactly what the TAS Profile Scanner can do for you. Try this product out. No matter what you trade, the TAS Profile Scanner can help you make more informed trading decisions. There's no obligation to pay anything. Don't let this offer pass you by. Get your 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner today by signing up at TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Do you know the 7 most critical factors that influence every decision you make, and how not knowing these will jeopardize the health, the wealth, and the relationships you deserve? I'm Steve Rhodes, morning host at TFNN.com, and for the last quarter of a century, I've studied and used the secrets of human growth, the same formulas used by leaders of nations, billionaires and millionaires, and the most successful athletes on the planet. Would you like to break through any obstacle that gets in between you and the success you deserve? Would you like to turn fear into strength? If you could find a way to achieve, be fulfilled, and live a life of meaning, wouldn't you want to know the answer? I'll teach you the factors that control your state of mind and the drivers that impact every thought, emotion, behavior, and action we take in my new webinar, The Psychology of Trading. Join me for this 2-part online event where I'll unveil the secrets to human pattern recognition, because they're not what you think. And soon, you'll have the health, the wealth, and the relationships you deserve. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on The Psychology of Trading to begin your journey now.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And the Russells, we were talking about those, and I had a kind of question that in, what's the idea behind interest rates being better? And it's not so much that as the IWM would sell more products in the United States and therefore be less susceptible to a stronger dollar. And the idea is now that the dollar's going down, money would flow to stocks that would benefit from a lower dollar. So they'd be going back into the Dow stocks and the multinationals that might have the ability to actually make more money with a lower dollar. I don't know how much of that is true. It's also easier for a lot of the smaller stocks to dump more shares on the market and raise cash easily. It's a lot tougher for IBM to come out and say that they're going to dump 5 or 50 million more shares on the market. Although they can with placements and stuff like that. But the idea is that, especially with the IWM, that if a company's in trouble, they can take shares off the shelf and dump them. A lot of bigger companies that have a lot of foreign exposure do not have a lot of shares sitting on the shelf ready to go. Stocks with and companies that are fairly new and recent IPOs tend to have a lot of shares just sitting there ready to go. And the idea is at least you're not going to lose everything, I guess is the idea. But it's kind of tough. Anyway, CRM, I guess the idea is that they're thinking about potentially selling the company. I can tell you that this is all bovine excrement. There is no way that that CEO is selling that company. My guess is there were a lot of people short that stock. He got a phone call from somebody and they said, hey, we can run the stock by just someone saying, we're more than willing to enter about talking to you. And that's all it took. Probably a lot of people sitting on that one short. And he got the phone call because I'll guarantee you this is one CEO that believes everything that is written about him that is good. If I've watched a lot of things, his phone calls. This is not one guy that has a problem with his self-worth, and he'll be the last guy in the world to ever sell that company. So if you're banking on this company going to the moon because he's going to sell it, the answer is no. My guess is he is more than willing to take out a bunch of shorts that bet against his company. There's some CEOs that are like that in the past. They've organized with other people to run the shorts out of their company. But there's just no way that this guy is running his company. I watch a podcast every week that is basically all his employees. And they've all drunk the Kool-Aid too. He's drunk the Kool-Aid. I've seen interviews with him. He thinks he's a god. Now, he's done a great deal. I'm not taking it away from him, but he's not humble. Let me put it that way. In personalities, there's self-effacing kind of CEOs. There are people that are kind of aw shucks. This guy is none of them. He believes all of it. And he is kind of the guy that would believe like he's vastly superior than everybody, kind of like a Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs just didn't really run around trying to push it in a lot of people's faces. I think he just let them know. There's a saying in football, act like you've been in the end zone before. Not many football players do that anymore, but I do. Anyway, we got earnings coming up tonight. I don't think you want to be shy any of those. 2109 on the S&P cash. Anything below 2108, I think, is a victory. And we will continue to look at how this market closes at the end. In the meantime, so when you can, not when you have to. See you tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. You're watching Tiger TV.